Today, I want to talk about some really important tips and tricks that you can use on masters in Kingshot to get more value and save yourself some time. So the first one is going to be regarding their skills. As you can see, my Valora is fully maxed. However, my Pan is not. And you can see a lot of the skills here have this arrow. This means that I am ready to upgrade the skill. However, if you've watched my other videos, you know that you should be waiting for an event, especially mostly KVK, before doing any kind of upgrades to benefit your account and your kingdom in general. But you can see that I have 310,000 XP out of 61,000. And this is a recurring theme here. I have exactly 110,400 for what is required. And here I also have exactly what is required. So how does this work exactly? To find out, we'll look at Cassia, and I have an example here. You can see that this is the way to upgrade skills. You will click learn, and then you will queue up for 10 minutes all the way to 5 days, and it will give you a certain amount of XP. Now, most of the time, you're going to try and aim to be at the amount that you need to get the next level. However, there is a certain level for these abilities. So, like as you can see here with Cassia, the abilities go up to 10 and 20, while for other heroes like Valora, for example, it's 10 and 5. When you reach the max, there is no more learning that you can be doing. And you can see here, it's the same for Pan. It's level 5 for this one. But this is where you can see I cannot click learn anymore because I have maxed the XP that this skill will require. However, this one goes to level 10. I have maxed it too, which is why I'm at 310,000. So this is what I would call like priming up your levels or your skill upgrades for the future. You can see that you can pre-learn the XP way in advance of you upgrading, even if you're not at that level. So the best example here, I need quite a lot of XP to get to level 7 to 8. However, I can't even do it because I'm not casual too. Like I will need to level her up to another level, and Cassia is very expensive to level compared to the other ones before. So what you're going to be able to do is, queue up more time and give you way more XP than you need for the next level. So for example, like this one, if I upgrade the skill, you'll see my XP will go down, but I already have 250,000 for the next skill level. So you basically, that's what I'm calling priming. You're making it so that when your levels come later on, you're going to be having the XP already learned. So this means that when KVK hits and you're spending all of these manuscript and leveling up your masters, you're going to have all the XP already learned. You don't have to do like this and use speed ups to finish it quickly. Now, of course, sometimes you will, but there's always weeks between all the events what you need to push, especially like basically a month between every KVK. So you can pre-prime so many of these so that when the KVK hits, you can just upgrade the skills, and you can even do more than one upgrade. Now, one thing to be careful about is, for example, like these skills, once you reach the threshold, basically the skill goes to level 5 and that's it. Once you reach that threshold, it won't let you learn any more XP. So when you are looking at learning more experience, you might not be able to do like 5 days to get maximum amount of XP. You might have to do less than that in order to get the exact amount. There's a pop-up on the game that shows up and tells you, are you sure you want to do this? And then you just adjust. Now, priorities on what to level first is going to be another video that I'm going to make shortly, because I might not waste all of my manuscripts on Pan. There are better things for me, and you might want to keep them for future masters that get released in the future. Because another tip here is that, of course, now we have 4 masters, but if you look at Whiteout Survival, which is the game that this is basically a copy of, you have way more than 4. So there will be dozens of masters released in Kingshot over the next few months / years, which means that right now it says 4 out of 4 and there's nothing else. However, I'm pretty sure that at some point in this achievement list, you will have this checkmark disappear and it will say 4, and then there'll be another one that won't be shown yet, but that means that a 5th master is coming soonish. Maybe within a few weeks, maybe a month or two, I think we'll have another master, and they are going to be some really good masters that are worth saving up for. So you don't want to spend everything at once. And maybe I would say look for this check mark. If it ever disappears, it's a pretty good clue that a new master is coming soon. If a new master is coming soon, one good thing is save these adventure supplies. As you can see, I have 122. I never spend them. This is the Lost Land. It's the best way to unlock a new master as soon as it comes, because you can choose the master that you want to focus on here. So this is going to be very useful for me right now. Cassia is it. But once a new master comes out, you can just discover the master in the realm journey. And as soon as you have discovered it once, you'll be able to go in Lost Land and focus on that master and get their tokens and, pre-level it up or like have a boost right away as soon as it releases. Now, speaking of Realm Journey and basically these journey supplies, there is another really important tip here. Now, one thing I would say is that the 4,000 gems for 20 of these per day, I find really low value. I don't find it good. If you're a large spender, it's probably fine, even for me with, you know, I have a lot of gems. But for anyone else, medium to low spender, and of course free to play, I don't think I would ever touch it. It's way too expensive. That's 4,000 gems a day. That's tens of thousands of gems a month, which you want to keep for the wheel almost all the time for anyone. Unless you have way too many gems, you don't know what to do with them, you are not going to do that. I don't think it's good. That's my opinion. I don't even really spend it ever or most days, because the rewards you get from journey supplies, they're good, but they're pretty low. Like, the amount of reward is still worth not that much, like in terms of money value. It's nice, but it's just not a huge amount of reward. Like, it's 50 books and like 2 or 3 tokens, which you need hundreds of to level up skills and stuff. So it adds up, but it's just not that much. However, for those that you do get, because you get a lot of them for free daily, come claim this twice a day, but also you get some at every reset just given to you. Now, there is 3 options. One of them is doing it manually, like pressing next up. This is very boring and very long, and it's a big waste of your time. But there is also auto and idle, which you unlock after doing a little bit, and it's very easy once you have them. Now, idle is what I end up doing a lot of the time, which basically just means that you press it, then you get removed from the screen, and then it's just doing it for you. So it plays itself in the background. Now, the problem with that, as you can see here, there is choices sometimes, and having different choices will give you different rewards. And some of the choices give way more rewards than others, which means that if you do idle, you will get usually the worst reward that you can get. However, if you do it manually and you learn them, you will have the knowledge of which ones are going to give you more reward and get those rewards. For example, if I had done leave here, I might have gotten half of these books. So instead of like 50, I would have gotten 25 maybe, or 30 or something like that. So there is a way to find out, but I would say the best way to do this is going to do auto, and you don't do auto manage. And doing it on auto makes it double speed. So it's, you know, you still have to look at it, but if you don't auto manage, like some of them, there is no choice, but some of them, when there is a choice, you'll see it will ask you, and then you will get to choose. Like in this case, obviously I don't really have a choice. I have to cook, but doing it like this will mean that I'm going to get the highest reward. Had I not, idle would have probably gotten not the best reward. So, I mean, it's a very, very small amount of reward difference over time. However, it is a reward difference. So if you're not spending a lot of money on this game, this is going to make a difference. Like you can see here, the difference here in choosing the right one is, you know, worth a certain amount. Like the amount of XP between this and this is still significant. So if you are paying attention and taking your time to do it properly, you will get better rewards out of it. Now, here is a very neat guide that I found on Reddit. This is going to give you a good idea. There are other lists around on different wikis and stuff like that. However, this one I find very useful because it shows you the image. So the difference you can see, for example, on here on the left, if you have the option, one of them is fixed sign, one of them is leave. Well, the difference is 20 manuscript or 10 manuscript. Now, this is not a huge amount of manuscript, but if you look, there's always more. Like from face them head on, find another way. So 100 to 70. And if you go into the like blue ones, 50, 40, 30, like it's a difference. Like it's something that's going to add up because you're going to do hundreds of these a week of these little events. And, you know, if you do 100 times 20 more manuscript per event, well, that's going to be thousands of manuscript per month that are going to make a difference for you. So this is just a general tip, but you can see, especially in the purple quality, like you're getting 30 manuscript by choosing the right one. And sometimes, like you can see here, hunt it or leave it. You'd think that like leaving is never good. In this case, hunting it is less manuscript than leaving it. So it does have somewhat of a difference. And even here, the most important one is going to be the emblem. You can see here, if you pass, you have 3 emblems. If you sort loot, you have 5 emblems. So, and there's a lot of different ones. Like put the link of this one in the description of the video so you can see it. The person who made it has a name that's G903. So I'm guessing maybe from server 903. So, I mean, thank you for making it. But yeah, this is going to be, you know, a good way of learning and knowing what choice to make in order to get the maximum amount of reward. And that's going to be especially useful for people who are not spending tons of money on this game. Now, the last thing I want to highlight is going to be once you max a masters, you can see here I have 2 and here I have 3 tabs. So the research tab is a new tab that appears once you max, which is going to mean, of course, that they're at the last level of relationship advancement and all that. And, you know, Valora is a very good one to max early for how much benefit she brings. And this is really to show you that after that, here is where you have a emblem spender, and it's almost an infinite emblem spender because you're going to see you're going to need a lot. Like there's 200 levels here, and I can get, you know, all of these extra defense, attack, health, all that kind of stuff. So it adds up for a lot more stats, and basically, like as I said, it's 200. So I don't think it's going to be 5 every time either. Like I'll test it out just to see, but I feel like afterwards maybe it's going to be more than 5 after you've done like one full circle. Maybe it's going to become 10 every time and then 20 every time. So I don't have the exact amount, but I can guarantee you it's going to be hundreds if not thousands of these required for you to get to the max. It's of course going to be a mostly well focused thing. The only reason I want to mention it is because it kind of just highlights that emblems out of all the materials related to masters are by far the most important and the ones that you need the most in terms of you will never not need more. So you will eventually max out all the skills and not need, you know, the books and stuff. You will eventually max out the hero and not need all this XP stuff, but you will always need the emblems. So just something to keep in mind. Now you'll need everything for a lot of times. That's about it for my tips and tricks regarding masters. I am going to make also a full-on tier list of the best skill to level up, the priority of all of them for free-to-play low spenders. If you're not a huge spender, there are some skills that are way more important to level than others, and my account is not necessarily the best example of it because I am a spender. So stay tuned for that video coming out soon. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next video.